Now, lots of chatter online following news that safe distancing enforcement officers can enter, inspect and search premises, including residences, without a warrant. This in order to check whether COVID-19 regulations are being complied with.
Just this week, actor Nick Mikal posted videos on Instagram questioning why URA and police officers could enter his home on July 31st without a warrant or court order.
According to the law, the safe distancing enforcement officers were acting under Section 35(5) of the COVID-19 Temporary Measures Act. And read with this section of the Infectious Diseases Act, they have the legal right to enter and inspect any premise to enforce any control order without the need to obtain a warrant.
The Straits Times' coverage of this has garnered over 800 comments on Facebook. While many netizens were surprised and not supportive of the powers these safe distancing enforcement officers have, some like Ang Ang feel such enforcement is needed to control the current COVID-19 situation.
Now, others like Cecilia Lim were concerned about safety in the event these legal rights to enter one's home without a warrant are being abused by potential scammers.
Well, her comment was shared. The same sentiment was echoed by Wesley Gunter, who added that he wants, quote, to hear the point of view from legal professionals.
Let's address these issues with lawyer Joshua Tong, an associate with Kalco Law. Welcome to the show, Joshua. If people claiming to be safe distancing officers show up at my door, is there anything I can do to verify their identity, Joshua? Which agencies can they be from?
Yes, let's take the questions one at a time. Yes, you can ask the safe distancing officers for verification. According to the NEA frequently asked questions, you may request for verifications, and how you would identify an officer would be from their corporate attire, their staff pass, their lanyard, or some may have seen the red armband. So yes, there's nothing stopping you from asking for verification before letting the officer in. The second question is a bit trickier because the question is, which agencies can they be from? There really isn't an answer to that because these enforcement officers can actually be taken from many different public agencies. So that brings about some difficulties because how do you identify the legitimacy of the officer who's at your doorstep? Because there's no fixed agency, for example, the NEA or URA. There can be officers from other agencies that are legitimately checking your house for compliance with the control orders. So that brings about some, I would say, difficulties, whereas you compare it to a situation with the police or even MAS, where, the public is very clear that these agencies have powers to come into your home in certain situations. Yeah.
Well, when these officers, they show up at my door, can I deny them entry on any grounds?
The short answer I would say to that is no, because they have the right to enter into the premise to check whether or not you are complying with the rules. While there is no fixed standard, or at least not explicitly mentioned under the law, what I would imply is that they need to be exercising the powers in good faith and with reasonable care. And that really isn't that hard to meet. So I would answer that you shouldn't deny them entry because if you do not comply with their directions, you are actually liable to a fine or an imprisonment if you do not have any reasonable excuse. So I really would caution people to, really think twice before denying any officer entry to your home.
Joshua, so let's say if I feel that safe distancing officers have overstepped their boundaries or are acting inappropriately while on duty, what can I do within my rights?
The safe distancing officers are held to the same standards as all civil servants. So they are not some unique group that are exempt from liability. So take, for example, police officers. They are all held to the same standards, safe distancing officers. And if you have cause to believe that they are, acting inappropriately or overstepping their boundaries, there's nothing, firstly, stopping you from making a police report. And in the police report, if they are really acting inappropriately or overstepping their boundaries, you can state that you have reason to believe that an officer is harassing you, and that is caught under the Protection from Harassment Act, or even any other offences that is caught under the Penal Code. Or in the alternative, even if their conduct is not criminal, there's nothing stopping a member of the public to pursue any civil remedies against an officer, for example, trespass or damage caused to the premises, if they can show that the officer did not exercise his powers to enter the premise in good faith and without reasonable care. But what exactly is good faith and reasonable care is highly fact-centric, and it really depends on the facts of the case.